Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are talking Anduin, the World of Warcraft character that's had more models than Leonardo DiCaprio in a month's worth of date nights. And specifically, Blizzard's new pre-Legion comic, Anduin, Son of the Wolf. So if you haven't read that and you don't want it or anything from Legion spoiled, do not watch this video, okay? No, seriously don't. Just go and watch something else. Oh, tell you what, watch our 5 saltiest moments from the Legion beta video, because seriously, no fuckers watch that. No, really, please watch it. Son of the Wolf is part 4 in Blizzard's free series of comics setting the scene for Legion. This comic, just like the other 3 so far, is an absolute belter. Firstly because it's a beautifully drawn, very awesome story, but mostly because you can watch it online and look, it moves and makes noises. Honestly, these dynamic comics are genuinely my favourite thing that has ever happened. Okay, after this kid being given this toy, then it's my favourite thing that has ever happened. It's like watching a movie, except you have to read it. It's like watching a French movie. Yeah, not that movie though, because this is a story of demons. It's a story of father and son, and it's a story with a truly revelatory ending, which gives me the opportunity I've been waiting for to talk about where I think the story of World of Warcraft is heading. So without further ado, here are 3 massive things from the Anduin comic. Okay, go. Spoilers are a bit like tattoos of Justin Bieber. Great for people who want one, but not the kind of thing you should be giving someone completely by surprise and without consulting them first. Which is why it's a bit odd that the Anduin comic opens with a massive fucking spoiler. I mean, seriously, here I've been for months on this fucking channel being really careful not to mention the massive spoiler so people who don't want to know can go and enjoy the Broken Shore scenario properly for themselves. And Blizzard are like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks for that, Taliesin, but actually, we're gonna fuck those people just like we fucked Beast Mastery, and King Varian is dead! There, I said it, but not before Anduin said it, so that's okay? Yes, King Varian. What would have happened if Chris Metzen had written Me, Myself and Irene? You know how it looked like he died in the Legion cinematic, and you were like, oh no, Varian has died, and then it turned out he totally hadn't, and he was all like, for Azeroth, and you were like, yeah, Varian's not dead, he's a total baller! Well, he's dead now, killed in the Broken Shore scenario. He's got a tomb and everything, sorry. Now, of course, when the comic came out, none of this had actually happened in game yet, as the Broken Shore scenario hadn't been made live in the pre-patch, which is why it's a little bit surprising that Blizzard would choose to totally ruin that surprise, and what would presumably be a pretty epic cinematic with the opening of this comic. And I think it also shows that they were really expecting the Broken Shore to be live quite a bit earlier when they okayed the release date for this comic. Okay, so Varian's death may well be the worst kept secret in geek culture since Jon Snow's undeath. Oh, what's that, Kit? You're just hanging around in Belfast, near where they filmed Game of Thrones for 6 weeks. Oh, and you didn't feel like getting rid of that haircut that you famously hate? Well, your character is definitely 100% dead then, isn't he? Yep, nothing to be suspicious about there at all. But it's still a bit of a fuck you from Blizzard to just put it out there like that without any warning. I mean, can you imagine if you'd somehow managed to avoid any spoiler at all for Legion, avoided all the forums, the beta and the PTR, not spoken to any of your friends for 6 months, and then this happened? It would make by far the most ironic verse in Alanis Morissette's Ironic song. And yes, Internet, I'm saying it would be more ironic than 10,000 spoons. Even more ironic than that. You can quote me on that, like miles more ironic. Anduin Wrynn is a character that we followed throughout the history of World of Warcraft for most of his life. Like Macaulay Culkin, we've watched him grow up, and they've got an awful lot in common. While Macaulay's parents accidentally left him alone in his home over Christmas, Anduin's dad accidentally left him alone in charge of an entire kingdom when he disappeared on a trip to Theramore. No, not that trip to Theramore. And while Macaulay spent his childhood hanging out with Michael Jackson, who is bad, his words, not mine, Anduin spent his with Katrana Presta, who is bad, in a kind of I'm a black dragon, I'm gonna kidnap you type way bad. And they both had troubled teenage years. Macaulay got busted for drug possession, Anduin got busted by a massive bell. And now Macaulay spends his time fronting a band which only sings about pizza, while Anduin is now going to have to be the reluctant war leader at a time when his world is under threat from the greatest demon invasion in its history. Which, if I'm honest, is where this whole Anduin-Macaulay Culkin comparison thing gets a little bit too stretched, actually, so I think I'll just leave it there if it's okay. But Anduin has always, from a young age, rejected his father's warlike ways and trodden his own path, a path of peace diplomacy, and enlightenment. And you might think those aren't especially useful personality traits against a bunch of rabid demons whose only desire is to wipe out all life in the universe. And the demons certainly think so too. Especially this one in the comic, who has infiltrated Anduin's office and starts taunting him about being a failure and a runt, which is a bit close to the bone actually. Don't forget, this is the guy who spent most of Mists of Pandaria either taken prisoner or quite literally playing board games while he recovered from a bell falling on him. A bell. So what's Anduin going to do in this situation? Start crying? I wouldn't blame him. Take up the demon's offer of peace and hand his people over to the Burning Legion? I might, to be honest. If I got wings, I definitely would. If I got cool green tattoos out of it as well, then seriously, why are you even asking that question? Sign me up! But the comic is here to show us that this is not the Anduin of old, because these days, Anduin is a badass, and it's official. First, he totally overpowers the demon and sticks him to the wall like Spider-Man or something, and then he zaps the demon into embers and just carries on like nothing has happened. And when I say zapped, look at the picture. That is a paladin hammer. Is Anduin in this moment moving on from being a priest and studying the light to being a paladin who is essentially a warrior priest? Is that symbolic? Am I wrong? Am I just being an idiot? But I think that's what's happening here. And this is important for him and for us. It shows us that the leader of the Alliance is up for the fight and ready for whatever it takes to beat back the Legion invasion, even abandoning his ideals of peace. And I think this is a sign we're going to see Anduin kicking some serious demon tail this expansion. Or should I say, this expansion and beyond, because by far the most intriguing, talked about, and controversial part of the comic is the final scene, which is set many years into the future and shows Velen and a super old High King Anduin about to launch the final assault. More on that later. Now, there's so much going on here that we are going to have to take all of these things one bit at a time and try to keep up, okay, because this could get more tangled than CSGO Lotto. Okay, so 1, if Velen and Anduin are alive many years in the future, then that means they aren't going to die in Legion, making them pretty much the only ones. 2, you see that place they're sitting in there, guys? That is the motherfucking Exodar, and specifically the traders tier of the Exodar. Why does High King Anduin choose to have his throne in the traders tier of the Exodar? I don't know, but he's the High King, he can do what he wants, okay? Now, of course, the Exodar is a big crashed spaceship, and I don't think I'm being too outlandish to suggest here that this means that Exodar is fully operational, and we are in space right now. Sorry, the great dark beyond. Space! We're in space! The final battle will happen in space. Boom. 3, we appear to have brought Turalius along with us, so it's good to know we'll still be able to buy an assortment of different coloured elks in space, just in case, you know, you never know. 4, okay, and here's the big one, because Velen says the light will triumph over the shadow this day, which, you know, is a pretty Velen thing to say. He loves saying shit like that. But the use of the word shadow is interesting, because of course the Burning Legion have been described as a shadow in the past, but that was before Chronicle gave us that amazing cosmology chart, which shows us nice and clearly that shadow equals Void Lords. I think we are so far into the future at this point that the Burning Legion has been defeated, and we are about to face off against the biggest bad of all. If you have no idea what I'm talking about at this point, then you just need to watch our last video and catch up. But essentially, the reason Sargeras and the Burning Legion even want to destroy Azeroth in the first place is because they are so scared of the Titan World Soul being corrupted by the Void Lords, because Sargeras knows the Void Lords are the baddest thing there is. Think of it this way, if Azeroth is Rihanna, then the Void Lords are Chris Brown. Seriously, it's just a really good idea to keep the Void Lords away from Azeroth, okay? Azeroth is just so much better off and more successful without them. And this is where my very own theory comes in. Put on your best tinfoil hats, internet, because it is time for a Taliesin Evitel tinfoil hat special. My tinfoil hat, by the way, is a bowler hat, of course. Right, so the Void Lords are badass, okay? In a straight-up fight between the Void Lords and us, the Void Lords would win. And in a straight-up fight between the Void Lords and the Burning Legion, the Void Lords would win. Otherwise, Sargeras would just take them out. It'd be much quicker than wiping out all life in the whole universe. So individually, we don't have a chance against them. But what about together? What about if at the end of this expansion, or the next, we beat the Legion enough that Sargeras sees, possibly after being beaten in a raid fight, that actually his best chance of beating the Void Lords isn't to wipe us out, but to join forces with us? Or what if we kill Sargeras and the Burning Legion get a new leader, like, I don't know, Illidan? What if our forces combined, with a bit of help from the Naru and the newly awakened world soul of Azeroth, might be just enough to get ourselves on an equal footing with the Void Lords, and that's what eventually leads to this final battle depicted in the comic. I genuinely think that that's what's going to happen, and I'm calling it now. We will somehow team up with or enlist the Burning Legion, with or without Sargeras, and we will fight the Void Lords together. That's my theory, guys, and I'm like George Foreman at this point. I'm so proud of it, I put my name on it. All this happens after we kill Khadgar for seriously whatever reason, obviously. So what do you think, guys? What the actual fuck is going on at the end of that comic? Is my theory the best you've ever heard? Or is it wronger than Joseph Fritzl appearing on the NTV Cribs Basement Special? Let us know in the comments below. Let's talk the shit out of this one. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, you can like it if you like, and subscribe. If you subscribe, then I promise we will make more videos. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it, and remember, my name is Fat Boss TV. No, my name is Taliesin of Taliesin Evitel. Check out some of our older videos on screen now. Join us on Twitter at Taliesin Evitel. And until next time, team, stay tinfoily and cheerio.